Welcome to Rotten Taste, where we take a look at movies under 50% on Rotten Tomatoes and just kind of tell you what we think of them. And today, we are looking at the 1987 movie Harry and the Hendersons. This movie has a 45% score on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not the worst one, just under
No.
that radar. Growing up, I loved this movie. I watched it a lot. But Soto, this is one that you picked. We were like, "What's a Soto pick? What do you want to do?" And you picked Harry and the Hendersons. So let's start with you. Why did you feel like we needed to review this film? Because I'm going to be honest, and I know I texted you this, but this is the most wholesome review we've done. I just love this movie. There's just so much joy. But I want to hear from you. Why did you want to do this movie? In all honesty, let's talk about that.
Same thing that you just said. It was on TV all the time. I've seen this movie a million times, uh, and I never had a problem with it. It was like right around the time where I probably saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids a bunch of times too. So it was like right around that time frame, and I'm sure I got the years wrong, but you know how things come out on TV. But I just remember watching this with my sisters, and we watched it all the time. And it was never a movie that I thought was bad in any way. It was just a wholesome family movie that was great. It had some emotion, it had some good lessons in it. And so when I saw this on Tubi, and then I saw that it was under 50%, I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is, again, we've said this before, but this is why we do Rotten Taste, is why we talk about movies that we actually thought were fantastic, but that are rated below 50% on Rotten Tomatoes that other people think are not great. Other than the premise, which the premise is fucking ridiculous, because as I'm watching this movie and I'm watching it with Sarah, it's like at any moment this gorilla ape thing could have murdered this entire family, ripped them to shreds. But I guess it was lost on me when I was younger that he's like a vegan or like I always thought he was just nice to animals, but now I'm looking at him like, oh, he doesn't eat meat because he doesn't eat the hamburgers from McDonald's after he buys them all that stuff.
Hmm.
And so that never occurred to me, but I was just, as this terrifying Sasquatch is living with this family, which, by the way, if you haven't seen Harry and Henderson's, that's the premise. This family hits a Sasquatch, they take him in, and then he becomes part of the family, and it's all great. But I was just like, at any point, this animal could just absolutely rip these people's arms off. And that was, kind of just swept under the rug, and everything was like great and happy, and it was awesome. So it's an amazingly neutral family movie that has no bad things happen. There's barely any violence in this. Um, it's just a feel good movie. So yeah, wholesome. After the end of it, I looked at Sarah and I was like, I have nothing bad to say about this movie. Like, this movie, nothing bad happens. It's a great movie to plop your kids down in front of. It is a
Yeah.
fantastic movie. If you're taking it seriously, sure. Like, you can have some critical, I guess, analysis of it. But if you're analyzing Harry and the Hendersons in a critical way, like, you have other issues going on that you need to unpack.
And I agree. Like I said, the premise is absurd. Outside of that, this movie should not be under 50%. I'm sorry. Again, it is enjoyable. It's just this
Yeah.
family that you can tell there's a little family drama, nothing serious. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I don't want you to be a hunter anymore, honey. And there's little things, but the instant, Harry is in the household and just the shenanigans, from teaching him how to sit. My wife was
Yeah.
watching it with me too. The instant this is happening, she's like, I'm in. I'm watching this. And she knew every part. She's like, oh, is this the part where you teach him to sit? Yes. And we're laughing. The smile Harry has. Like, it's just like, oh my God,
Yes.
this is great. You're
Uh,
in on all the shenanigans, and none of it's cringe, and that's the best part, because
no.
we've done some of these movies, even some of the ones we've liked, even going back to maybe like Three Amigos, where overall it's good, but you knew a few cringe moments. Like, yeah, this is something like when my daughter was little, I would let her watch it.
Yes.
This is a great movie. There's nothing wrong with it, and this might be the hardest review we've ever done. And I loved it. Like you, I watched this so many times with my family. My dad had HBO. We've seen it countless times, and I still remembered certain scenes. Like the sit scene, he then the roof scene. Yeah, his head pops up and stuff like that. But yeah,
in every
I know.
car that he gets in.
Yeah, I mean, he is a big dude. I know
Yeah.
originally, I mean, just a little fact out there, the original title was called Bigfoot in the Hendersons. I'm so glad they changed that because that would have just been like stupid.
My God.
Well, yeah, originally, I
Awkward to
think,
say.
well, they were just like, well, this is what it's about. This is about Bigfoot and the Hendersons. And,
They're not wrong.
no, they're not. But yeah, so John Lithgow stars in this, and
Love it.
this is at a time I know he was doing a lot of different kind of movies. I think this is the first time I've seen him in a family-friendly movie that I can think of because I remember things like Raising Cain and a couple other
Yes.
things. But this is I looked at him like, oh my god, he's great. It's just a basic dad. I loved him. I love John Lithgow. But
Yes.
yeah, the
Agreed.
scenes, everything that just happens, it's funny and it doesn't get old and they don't cross that line. And I think that's why this works from beginning to end. Not at any point when I was watching this movie or whenever I watch this movie, I'm like, when is this movie going to be over? And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my God, I
This movie
know.
was like an hour 50 and it did not feel like it. And I was like, oh,
No,
it's
I
really
know.
that long? And I'm like, oh, it's over? So, and that's what a movie should do. Every part just had me hooked, had me laughing. And yeah, we've said it. I'm sorry, people. We can't really pick apart this movie. There is nothing. I mean, he just gets accepted. The whole idea is like we have to take him back, but he's a member of the family. Yeah, and it's just great. And I don't know what more to say. I mean, I don't want to jump to the end, but I had to laugh because as the end's happening, my wife says that she's like, I try to find all the hidden, Sasquatches
Oh
before
yeah,
they start
me
moving.
too.
I'm like, I do that all the time. I'm doing that
I
as a
do
kid.
too.
And I'm like, I know, and I knew. I'm like, one's gonna be there, and one's gonna be there, and I always forget the little one because I always
I
find the
do
two.
too.
I'm like, oh yeah, there's the little one. But like, we were just happy, and if this
Yes.
movie does not make you happy, I'm sorry, there's something wrong with you. But
Yeah,
um,
I just like, for me, like it's just it's this is exactly like what like a bad movie that you like should be like. It goes by quickly, and what a breath of fresh air, like you mentioned. Like many other movies we've seen on Rotten Taste that are absolutely fucking atrocious. That you're like, my God, please let the Tubi commercial come up soon. Um, but I thought it was really fun, and it's like, yeah, if you of course, this movie doesn't make any sense. Absolutely, it doesn't make any sense. It's still a fun family movie. It's got great performances. John Lithgow, like you said, huge part of like what makes this movie so good. So if you see it, it's free on Tubi. Check it out. Like if you want to see it with your family, it's dumb. You'll laugh. Maybe you'll remember what it was like to watch as a kid, but it still actually holds up.
yeah, it does. They could remake this today, no problem.
Oh
Um,
no, please don't say that, because like we already
No,
have a
yeah, all right,
Roadhouse
yes. I
remake,
don't want them
and
to
the
remake it
Roadhouse
today.
remake looks
No,
bad,
no,
and
no, no.
it
I don't want to remake, but I'm just saying this is
you
like
just
they could.
cursed it.
I did, I did.
Because now
Hopefully
we're gonna
not.
have to watch that if it ever comes out. It's like, oh my fucking God, and it'll be like totally different, and it'll be dumb, and they'll try to make it realistic,
But
and it'll be awful. So, but fun
it,
fact though is the same guy who plays Harry is the Predator in the movie
the Predator
Predator,
movie, yeah.
hmm which I thought
Um,
was kind of fun.
and the second story that's going along in this film, outside of the family teaching Harry how to move, is there's this tracker, the Fleur. The
Oh
kind of
yeah,
basically the villain of this, who kind of
the asshole, the
the
villain.
asshole. He's been tracking down Bigfoot for 25 years, and he saw like it got hit, and obviously just like any other 80s movie shenanigans, he gets close, something happens, he gets mistaken, he gets hit, but yeah, and
Shenanigans.
then at the end of the movie, Harry does what he does best. He just gives LaFleur a hug, and that's it. LaFleur
Just
becomes
holds him
just
so
a wholesome
close,
guy. He's like, you
like a
know what?
little baby.
You're just a person like the rest of us. The villain falls in love with Harry. If a villain can fall in love with Harry, come on. Everyone's got to love Harry and the Hendersons. I'm sorry. I want, I dare anyone who has seen this movie, I dare you, tell us why you hate this. There should be no reason. There should honestly be no reason. I can't think of a movie I've
Yeah.
loved this much from start to end that I couldn't pick apart. One part. There's not one part that I can honestly pick apart. So,
I think if you hate this movie, you just need a hug. Cause like seriously, get over it. Like if you want a hug, we'll talk about it offline. Maybe we can work something out. Like but you're just like LaFleur. Like you just need a hug. That's all.
Yeah. So we're just going to end this because there's really not much more to say. I mean,
No,
so is there anything? Yeah, there isn't.
just watch
Go
it.
see
Just watch
Harry
it.
and the Hendersons. It is a great movie. This should be
Hmm.
higher on the list. It should be more than 50%. This should be in like the top 100 movies. I'm sorry. But if you honestly want a
Wow.
good fan, well, no, come on. You want to look at the 100 list? I'm sure there's a bad Star Wars movie that's up there that shouldn't be up there. Um,
Okay, you got me. You got me on
yeah,
that.
but anyhow, I know what I'm saying. But in all honesty, if you want a feel good movie, if you just want to be happy, go
Hmm.
see Harry and the Hendersons. It is
Exactly.
so enjoyable. It will put a smile on your face. I guarantee it. Um,
Yes.
yeah, but let us know. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Harry and the Hendersons. Let us know what you thought about this review. Is there something we should have caught that is not good in this movie? Just tell us. I'm curious what you think, and then we can dispute
Yeah.
that later.
I
Until
guess.
next time, have a good one.